I gotta ask, what was it like to call the longest televised NHL playoff game in history? That five overtime Pittsburgh versus Philadelphia semifinals in
Yeah.
2000. What was that like?
Yeah, it was wild, man. And, I've been fortunate for a while there. I had the three longest. Gord Miller knocked me out of one of them. Maybe I have three of the four longest televised, three of the five, something like that. And it kind of became my thing. You got to be known for something, and that's a good thing, I guess. And of course, I had nothing to do with it. It's sheer luck, right? It's nothing I did. But I do remember. I do remember that one in the igloo. The old igloo in Pittsburgh, and Keith Primeau, the much maligned, I think it's part of my goal call on that, the much maligned Keith Primeau scored. And it's funny now to have worked with and become friends with Brian Boucher, who was in goal for that game, which is really wild. There's some awesome stories. But I think the experience of having done a Washington-Pittsburgh game earlier, I don't know, maybe 95, also five overtime, which is ridiculous, sort of helped me prepare for that next one. So I was kind of ready for it. And so the thrill is, there are a lot of little anecdotes, like, the press box ran out of coffee. We had a runner. The runner got picked up by his mom. It was a weekday school night. He had to go home. It's 2 a.m. Of course he did. Of course he had to go home. So there's lots of stuff like that. But I just remember the pressure mounts every overtime you go. Please don't blow the call. Don't blow the call because, you get past three overtimes. Now you're into some rare air. It's a really special sporting event, and that call is going to be played over the years. And so fond memories. I love that, being a part of that. And again, I had nothing to do with it. It just happened to be there. That was nice. But Panger and I really enjoyed that. I did one with Darryl Ray too. So it's kind of a neat moniker, the Mr. Overtime thing. It's kind of nice.
Mr. Overtime. I like that. For Steve, the few games I've had the opportunity to call, I was able to call Quinnipiac at Lake Placid for their conference semifinal and their two games in Tampa in the national championship. So the experience, in my young experience, fumbling the call was like, you feel your heart rate go up. I was like, I don't know, right, what's going to come out of my mouth next. So it is a really weird experience to think like that call, like that final, whatever I say next is like going to be attached to this in some way. So,
and you owe it to the players, right? You owe it to the players to get that right, because your voice is going to be attached to potentially their greatest moment in their career, in their lives, maybe, right? I mean, a lot of those guys are not playing in the NHL, right? So for a lot of them, those guys, that's their signature moment of hope they have better things in their future, but if not, that's their moment, and there's your voice. So you want to pronounce their name correctly,